Have you ever noticed how hard we try to explain our worth to people who never really cared to understand it? You talk, you prove, you give, and yet it never feels enough. You keep showing up for people who wouldn't even notice if you stopped. But one day, when you step back, when you stop explaining and start protecting your energy, something powerful happens. They finally feel your absence, not your silence as weakness, but your absence as impact. There comes a time when words lose their power. You explain, you clarify, you justify. Yet somehow it never seems enough. You speak louder, hoping they'll finally understand the effort you give, the love you offer, the value you bring. But they don't, because words can't convince those who have already decided not to listen. That's when silence becomes your greatest strength. Silence doesn't mean defeat, it means wisdom. It's the realization that energy is precious, and not everyone deserves a piece of it. When you stop explaining your value, you shift from proving to protecting, from seeking approval to honoring yourself. The truth is, people often mistake your consistency for convenience. They get used to your presence, your help, your kindness as if it's guaranteed. They stop noticing the effort behind it. But the moment you step back, the moment you stop showing up, they feel it. That's the power of absence. It teaches what your words never could. It reveals how much light you carried, how much stability you brought, and how much love you offered without demanding recognition. Silence allows space for realization. It's not about punishing anyone, it's about letting the universe reveal truth through distance. In a world obsessed with noise, silence becomes revolutionary. When you no longer explain yourself, you start to live from authenticity instead of expectation. You learn that real confidence doesn't come from convincing others. It comes from knowing who you are even when no one acknowledges it. That inner knowing is peace. You don't need to argue to be understood. You don't need to shout to be seen. You don't need to justify your dreams, your choices, or your boundaries. Those who truly value you will never need an explanation. They'll feel your worth in your presence, and they'll miss your energy in your absence. This doesn't mean closing your heart or becoming cold. It means learning discernment, understanding who deserves your words and who only wastes them. Silence gives you power because it centers you. It teaches you that value isn't something you talk about, it's something you embody. You start focusing that energy inward, feeding your body with nutritious food, moving it with care, resting it with intention. You replace overthinking with breathing, arguments with gratitude, exhaustion with calm. And slowly you begin to glow differently. When you stop explaining your value, something magical happens. You start attracting those who see it naturally. People who recognize your worth without a presentation, who respect your boundaries without testing them, who celebrate your presence instead of taking it for granted. These are the ones who deserve your energy, your time, your heart. The rest will simply feel the void your absence leaves behind and learn the lesson they once ignored. So don't chase understanding. Don't beg to be seen. Speak when it matters, but never waste your peace trying to convince those who cannot comprehend your depth. Let your silence speak your value. Let your absence be your message. Because sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is to say nothing at all. The most powerful way to show your worth is not through endless explanations or desperate efforts to be understood. It's through how you treat yourself. Self-care is not selfish, it's self-respect. When you begin to nourish your body, mind, and soul with intention, you communicate a message louder than any words could ever deliver. I know my value. The truth is, people mirror how you treat yourself. If you constantly neglect your health, your peace, or your boundaries, the world will too. But when you start honoring your well-being, everything around you starts to shift. Taking care of yourself begins with the simplest choices. What you eat, how you move, how you rest, how you speak to yourself, all of it matters. Every healthy meal, every mindful breath, every walk in the sun is an act of reclaiming your worth. You no longer live to prove anything to anyone. You live to feel good, to be balanced, to be alive. A healthy diet isn't about appearance or trend. It's about gratitude for the body that's carried you through every chapter. Choose foods that energize and heal, drink water like it's sacred, and treat each bite as a way of saying, I matter. Exercise doesn't have to be punishment. It's not about pushing yourself to extremes or chasing perfection. It's about movement as love. A simple 20-minute walk, light stretching, or gentle yoga can reconnect you with your body in ways words never could. Movement clears the mind, strengthens the spirit, and reminds you that you are capable. As you breathe, stretch, and move, you'll start to feel your energy return. Not the energy you spent trying to prove your value, but the energy that fuels self-belief. Beyond physical care, mental and emotional health hold equal weight. Stop explaining your emotions to those who don't care to understand them. Instead, create space to feel them fully. Journal your thoughts, take quiet moments to reflect, or spend time in nature. Learn to sit with yourself without distraction. That's where healing begins. When you stop fighting to be understood and start focusing on understanding yourself. Self-awareness is the root of self-care. A positive mindset doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing not to let negativity dictate your direction. Speak to yourself kindly. Replace self-criticism with compassion. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Your inner dialogue shapes your outer world, and when your thoughts become nurturing, your energy becomes magnetic. People will notice, even if you say nothing at all. When you truly care for yourself, you no longer crave external validation. You stop explaining your value because you feel it deeply within. Your glow, your calm, your strength, they all speak louder than words. And the world begins to respond differently. Some people may fall away because they can no longer feed off your insecurity. Others will draw closer, inspired by your peace. Both outcomes are blessings. So invest in your well-being as your greatest proof of worth. Eat well, move lightly, rest deeply, and think kindly. You owe no one an explanation for choosing peace over chaos. Yourself. Care is your declaration that you are enough just as you are. Let them feel your absence if they took you for granted, because the world will always feel the loss of someone who learned to love themselves first. There comes a point in life when you realize that constantly trying to prove yourself to others is exhausting. You spend so much time explaining your intentions, your worth, and your choices to people who never truly wanted to understand you in the first place. That endless chase for validation drains your spirit, steals your peace, and weakens your confidence. But the truth is, you don't need anyone's permission to be valuable. You were born with worth, and no opinion, rejection, or misunderstanding can take that away. The day you stop chasing validation is the day you start reclaiming your power. Protecting your energy is an act of self-preservation, not selfishness. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and constantly trying to prove yourself empties that cup faster than anything else. When you stop explaining your value, you save your energy for things that actually matter: your health, your growth, your peace. You stop wasting time arguing with people who only listen to respond, not to understand. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your time, or your emotions. And when you realize that, you begin to live with intention instead of reaction. Validation is addictive because it feels like love, but it's not. It's approval dressed as acceptance. True love, true respect, and true friendship never make you feel like you have to earn your place. They see your value even in your silence. So when you feel unseen or underappreciated, instead of trying harder, step back. Create distance. Protect your space, because distance is where you'll see who actually values your presence. Some people only notice your importance when your energy is no longer available to them, and that's okay. That absence will speak louder than all the explanations you once gave. Protecting your energy also means being mindful of what you consume, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Surround yourself with peace instead of noise, with positivity instead of gossip, with growth instead of comparison. Nourish your body with real food, your mind with real rest, and your soul with real gratitude. Engage in light exercise, breathe deeply, stretch, and move your body not to prove anything, but to feel alive. Those small acts of self care, rebuild the energy you once gave away trying to be understood. Over time, you'll notice something beautiful happening. When you stop chasing validation, you stop feeling the need to explain. You become calmer, clearer, and stronger. Your silence becomes a boundary, your peace becomes your power. People may wonder what changed, why you stopped trying so hard, but the truth is, you simply started protecting your spirit. You learned that not everyone deserves to know your heart, and not every misunderstanding needs correction. So stop explaining your value. Stop chasing people to see your worth. Protect your energy as if it's sacred, because it is. The right people will never need convincing. They'll just feel your authenticity, your calm, and your strength. And those who don't, let them feel your absence. Your peace will say everything your words no longer need to. True strength isn't found in how loudly you speak, it's found in how consistently you show up for yourself. Positive habits are not built overnight. They're built through quiet, daily choices that reflect your self-worth. When you stop explaining your value to others and start living it through your actions, your entire life begins to shift. The small routines you build each day become proof that you no longer rely on anyone's approval. You are no longer living to be seen. You're living to feel fulfilled. Positive habits are the foundation of peace. They give structure to your energy and direction to your mind. It starts with the simplest act, waking up early enough to breathe in calm before the noise of the world begins, taking a few minutes to stretch, or drinking water before your first sip of coffee. These little choices set the tone for how you treat yourself. When you commit to consistency, you build quiet confidence. You stop talking about change and start becoming it. Because words can be questioned, but habits can't. They are your undeniable evidence of growth. Exercise, even in its gentlest form, is one of the purest ways to reconnect with your inner strength. It's not about perfection or chasing an image. It's about honoring the body that carries your spirit. A light walk, a few stretches, or even mindful breathing can remind you that you're alive, capable, and in control. With every step, you're building resilience. You're saying to yourself, I am worth this effort. You're no longer trying to convince anyone of your value because your actions already speak that truth. The same goes for your mindset. A positive outlook isn't about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about focusing on what you can control and releasing what you can't. Life becomes lighter when you stop explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds about you. Instead of wasting time defending your worth, use that time to nurture your peace. Start your day with gratitude. Write down 3 things you appreciate, no matter how small. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, and in that shift, your energy begins to heal. Healthy habits go beyond physical and mental routines. They extend into how you treat your time and relationships. Set boundaries without guilt. Protect your energy like it's gold. If a situation drains your peace, walk away from it. If a person constantly misunderstands your heart, stop explaining. Distance is not anger, it's clarity. It's a declaration that your peace matters more than proving a point. When you live with consistency, your habits become louder than your explanations. People will notice your calm, your focus, and your glow, even if they don't understand it. That's the beauty of growth. It doesn't need to be announced, it simply becomes visible. Those who once ignored your worth will start to feel your absence, not because you disappeared, but because you evolved beyond their reach. So, build habits that reflect your worth. Eat well, move often, think positively, and rest deeply. Stop explaining what you're doing and why you're doing it. Just do it. Let your health, your energy, your balance, and your peace speak for you. When your lifestyle reflects self-respect, the world feels your presence differently. And if anyone took that presence for granted, let them feel the quiet power of your absence. There comes a time in life when words lose their meaning. When explaining your worth to those who can't see, it becomes an exhausting cycle that only drains your energy. You can spend days, months, even years trying to convince others of your value, showing up for them, helping them, giving them every reason to appreciate your presence, yet somehow they never truly understand. That's because people rarely value what they have easy access to. They grow comfortable with your consistency, they take your kindness as a guarantee, and they assume your efforts will always be there waiting for them. But the truth is, real value doesn't need to be explained. It is felt when your presence is no longer around. Sometimes the best way to remind people of your worth is through silence and distance, not explanations. When you step back, when you stop overgiving, when you stop showing up for people who barely notice your effort, that's when the shift happens. People start to notice what they've lost. They remember how your presence made things easier, how your words carried peace, how your energy lifted the room. Absence creates clarity. It reveals who truly cared and who was merely comfortable. It teaches people the difference between convenience and connection. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation of why you deserve respect, attention, or love. If someone needs you to explain why you're valuable, they've already failed to recognize what's right in front of them. The moment you start explaining your worth, you start negotiating it, and that's a dangerous place to be. Because the more you try to prove yourself, the more power you hand over to others to decide if you're enough. Your worth isn't up for debate. It's not something that needs approval or validation. It exists simply because you do. When you finally walk away from those who underestimate you, it won't be easy. You'll be tempted to go back to explain, to make them understand. But resist that urge. Let your absence do the speaking. The quiet of your distance will echo louder than any speech could. People remember the ones who brought peace, not noise. They remember the ones who made them feel grounded, supported, and understood. When that energy disappears, the void it leaves becomes undeniable. It's not about revenge or making anyone feel guilty. It's about reclaiming your self-respect. It's about realizing that you don't have to chase appreciation. The right people will see your worth effortlessly. The wrong ones will need your absence as their lesson. So stop explaining. Stop overproving. Stop trying to be understood by those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Your silence is not weakness, it's power. Your absence is not loss, it's revelation. Let them feel what it's like without your light. Let them miss what they once took for granted. In the end, they'll understand what your words never could.